Okay, I'll show you a little bit more of the interface here. What I did here along the playlists was because these are all templates, I just created a worship playlist for each of the Sundays. So the worship ones were correct and the communion ones were correct. So if you were to click on, say, July 7th, which is all that is, 0707 July 7th, it will have all the different elements. That's a communion Sunday, so it was built off the communion template. What I did, just so that you know if you need to do this, how I did that was I went up here to File and Import File, and here in the documents there is a communion template, which is for the communion service, and a worship template, which is for your garden variety worship service. I just double clicked on that. I'll do it here just so you can see. It will pop this up because it's using the same series slide, the same call to worship slides as you have in other in the original template. So all you have to do is hit apply to all, use existing all the time. It won't make a difference. It's fine. I'll scroll down here and voila, there's the new one that I put in. If I wanted to rename it then for the date, I just right click on it, choose rename, and I can enter in the date. I'm going to delete it because I don't need it. So let's go back up to here. A couple things about the interface itself. I showed you how to bump up the slide size, but this arrow here, if you ever see it and it's a little bit cleaned up, this playlist mode, this is what I will usually put it on before I give the the computer to the projector on Sunday, just so it's a little bit cleaned up. It's just the current playlist. I can grab this bar here and drag it down a little bit just so that I can see the preview of what's going out to the projector a little bit easier. I will hit this again, this playlist mode, so it kind of comes back here. And again, I can adjust these if I want. If I'm doing a little more library work, I can slide these around, move these around however I need to be comfortable with it. One thing, I'm going to pull up the announcements playlist because this is the one place where this is really helpful, is this contiguous button. Right now you are seeing the playlist is what, 7 or 8 things. You're just seeing the current item, the announcements. If I were to click on the birthdays, you would just see the birthdays. In order to see everything all at the same time, so that you can drag and drop between different files, different presentations, that's the word I'm looking for, you hit contiguous. Contiguous does slow things down a little bit, so I don't run it often, but particularly when I'm doing the announcements, it's very helpful, as you will see in a minute. So I'll show you how to do the birthdays and anniversaries and stuff like that. So now, as you can see, I have the announcements, then I have the next presentation, the birthdays, goes down to the announcement templates, etc., down to anniversaries. So let's say, for instance, you can see at the end of the presentation, I have, this is a slide for happy birthday, what says happy birthday and then happy anniversary. So I will stick in the week's worth of birthdays into this spot here in the anniversary. So let's say it is April 5th, and over the next week, Madeline is going to have her birthday. So what I'm going to do is here in the April, or the birthdays April to June, I will literally just grab her, click on her name here, or her tile, and I will drag it after the birthdays. That's what contiguous allows you to do, drag between the presentations like that. And it still stays in there in the original birthdays. I'm just basically making an extra copy here. I'm going to clear that out. So let's see if there's any anniversaries. What I will do is I'll minimize the birthdays just by clicking here so it can zips all that up. I don't want the announcement templates right yet, so I'll make that active, so I'll zip that up. Anniversaries, okay. So I have anniversaries, April 9th. Kathy and Don Borland are going to have their anniversary. So that will be the only anniversary for that week. I'm just making up a week here. So I'll click on it and I'll drag it behind anniversaries right there. So that what happens, if you look at the preview here, happy birthday starts running. You've probably seen this every Sunday. Madeline's birthday, and since hers is the only one, it'll go on to happy anniversary to Don and Kathy, and then any others that are happening. And then what we've got to do, you probably see what it did there, where it kind of went on to the next presentation. I will walk you through how to get it to loop back up to the beginning, because this is very important. Wherever your last slide is, I'll get off of contiguous here so that you go back to the announcements. Okay, so this is a live bunch of announcements that we want to scroll through. Whatever the last one is after you have done this, you're going to right click on that last slide, go to next timer, you're going to say loop to beginning, and then what will happen, hit done. I can click on a file on a slide and it'll pop up, and we'll just let it run a little bit. Happy anniversary Don and Kathy, and then after the timer goes off, it will go back up to the beginning. Voila, just like we want it to. So, and then everything up here, you can see how long the slide is meant to last. Most of these are programmed in. If you duplicate a slide to create a new announcement or something like that, it will duplicate the timing. So, but if you do need to change it for whatever reason, you're creating a new announcement and you don't have a timer on it, start from the beginning. Right click, go to next timer, and then the duration is how long that slide will stay on. So I'm going to, let's do this. I'll click done. Let's say, for example now, that there are no anniversaries for whatever month I'm working on. So let's clear that out. What do we do with this anniversary slide? Do we delete it? We can, but then we got to find it in the templates and put it back. One of the easiest things to do, because the anniversary slides or the birthday slides can change from week to week, is you can right click on the slide. Here, I'm going to do this from the anniversary because say there are no anniversaries, and up here I can say disable slide. Click on that and it kind of grays it out there, and then that won't play, and I'll just put in the go to next, or the loop to beginning off the last slide, which happens to be Madeline's birthday. Right click, go to next timer, loop to beginning, done. If there are no birthdays, say it's one of those bare months, I can disable this slide again as well. Right click, disable slide, and then just be sure whatever your last slide is, right click, go to next timer, loop to beginning, so that it will not go on to the next bunch of templates, because that would get very ugly. So now it's going to do the slide here, and then it will, after a few seconds, loop back up to the beginning. Voila. So that's how to do the announcements. And let's say here, I'm going to turn off the loop to beginning here. Also, what you can do sometimes to make it a little easier is you can drag and drop these elements around to be in a different order. So sometimes I'll put the announcement templates or whatever one I'm working on right next to the announcements. So I'll hit contiguous again, clear that out just so that the screen isn't looping, and of course it's going to go to not responding. As I said, contiguous can get a little intense as far as what it is using, so I don't use it very often. Let's say there's the St. Patty's potluck is going to be happening. Here it is, a template that I made for the announcement. Again, just like the birthdays, I grab it, I stick it in, and I let go. It stays there in the announcement templates, which I like, and it's able to run in the announcements presentation. So just be sure you clean these up. You know, if you have the St. Patty's potluck on here and it's the week of March 24th, you don't want to have that potluck on there. So again, in that case, since you're not going to bring it back up, you can right click and go to delete and it'll just clear it out. So that's how you work the announcements. If you want to make a new announcement for whatever reason, what I would do, simplest way, is to grab a slide that is already working. Say this need the church one, and then you can go to edit and duplicate. And then it should give me a duplicate. Oh, let's do it this way. Never mind that. Go to editor. Click on that. Editor. And from here, edit, duplicate. It'll give you a second copy of it, and then you can go in and edit it. The timers will all be right, and there'll be a video on there and everything like that. So that is how you do the announcements and such. And I'll be back